All right, everyone. Happy Saturday.
Hello.
Ashley and I are here to talk about teaching a class. And so it looks like it's just going to be the two of us, which I'm actually I think is kind of neat. And so we'll just be toggling back and forth and sort of adding to the conversation. So the first thing that we both want to really stress is that we've talked about this before, but building this business is you building your own business the way that you want to. And so we're here to talk about the way we teach classes and the way we experience classes. But that's, in no way are we trying to pigeonhole anyone or say this is the only way or the right way. We just want to offer some, suggestions or ideas as you are getting started or continuing to share doTERRA with others. So definitely just know that this is just a resource and not one size fits all. And that's kind of the beauty of the business, right, Ash, that you get to do it your own way.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so when we talked about this class, though, or this topic, we definitely felt like it made sense to start with Class in the Box. It's just such an amazing, incredible deal for $25 what you get in there. And so we're going to go through some of the components of the Class in the Box and talk about how you can use them. But first, to teach a class, in a Class in a Box, you get 10 of these. And basically, it takes you through any or all of the major topics of like an essential oils 101 class. So what are essential oils? And a lot of people don't know what essential oils are. It's so funny. I have a funny story. I gave all of my daughters, she has like 7 preschool teachers, so it's hard to do teacher appreciation gifts. So I bought a Class in a Box. I gave everybody a 5 ml bottle of wild orange. And his teacher was like, oh, is this for like aromatherapy? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, you can use it lots of different ways. But yeah, aromatherapy, she opens the bottle and she's going like this.
Oh my God.
It smells so good. And I had to stop myself from chuckling. I told her, oh, well, you can actually smell the bottle right from the bottle. I was like, but I like to put it on. I was like, just be careful of sunlight. But it made me realize that and remember, because it's such a natural part of my life, that not everybody knows what to do with that beautiful little bottle of oil. So I went and printed out some directly from doTERRA, like all the ways you can use wild orange.
That's funny.
But she was literally going like this with the bottle in there. It was the funniest thing. No, it's like, funny. You can actually like just smell it up.
Okay.
I think the other, besides what are essential oils, I think the other topic that's you always want to talk about in any class, whether or not it's a 101 or is why doTERRA? Why doTERRA over other essential oils? And so that is covered right here. And then obviously, okay, so we know what they are. We know why we want to use doTERRA. So how do I use them? So the aromatic, internal, and topical. And then this particular handout from doTERRA continues on to establishing a foundation for optimal health, talking about the lifelong vitality pack and the supplements, which I think are critical for people to know that we have such a superior supplement pack. The next part on this tear pad is really, really critical. And I think sometimes the part that we might overlook, which is giving time for people to think about their 3 top health goals, things they want to support in their life or the lives of their loved ones, and letting them look in resources like a Modern Essentials book or Oil Life book, an app for what products will support them. And what is so empowering about this process is that it shows them that you are not the end all be all. You're not the purveyor of all knowledge when it comes to essential oils, that they can find their own answers. And that's going to be really critical moving forward when they use them, because they will be overwhelmed. They won't know exactly what to do. They'll need some guidance. And of course, you're always there. We have our Facebook groups, but we want them to know that they can pick up a reference guide and that they can take control of their education and learning about the oils into their own hands. And then it goes into how do I purchase them? What are the benefits of becoming a doTERRA member? And then this is a really important part that I never used to do. And I have to be honest, I still am not as strong about, is asking people, what path do you want to take with doTERRA? And kind of not limiting people to thinking about just living the doTERRA lifestyle, but also what could come from that. Sharing doTERRA, paying for your monthly order, or really building a doTERRA business. Like if you're watching this, you know, you're wanting to really build a doTERRA business. So, and then what's really nice is that they have a wholesale product list of all the products. And because doTERRA makes this, they can keep these more up to date than sometimes some of the other oil supply companies. And then, of course, they have the enrollment kits as well. So this is great. The only thing I don't like is that they go from small kits to big kits. I do prefer resources that show the big kits to small kits. You can download the Share Success handout, and theirs goes from the big kits to the small kits, and I really like that. And so does Edge goes from big kits to small kits, and we've talked about this before. Don't limit people. Build value in doTERRA and and let people make their own decisions, because you never be surprised that people might want the big bad boys. So and then last but not least, I taught a class at the end of the month in April. And I told my friends, I said, you know, it was April 30th actually. And I said, you know, I have a feeling May's going to have a promo. Let's not enroll you today. I'll take all your information. I was on a different island. I'll take all your information and we'll wait to see. And sure enough, the Share drop came on May 1st. So they also have, if you're in a place where you don't have internet, or maybe you only have one computer and you have 10 people, they have a wholesale customer sign up and a wellness advocate agreement sign up, all right in here. So you get 10 of these in every class in a box. And so you can teach a class from this TerraPad, or well, it's not a TerraPad, this pamphlet, this for sure. So it's a really, and even if you don't use it in that capacity, I just I met someone over the weekend, last weekend, who wanted more information. And so I actually sent her one of the living magazines that come in class box, because this really does act like a catalog. And I actually think it builds more value in the product than the catalog, how it highlights products.
Yeah.
You think so too?
Yes, I think I use it a lot, because usually when people ask me for samples, I'll give them their sample, their little instruction page with my thank you, and here's how you use it, what it's good for. And I always include a magazine, which is why I buy Class in a Box, obviously for the Wild Orange and the magazines, because I feel that it opens their eyes to all the different ways can use oils, because people think, oh, you know, essential oils, I can use them aromatically or whatnot, but there's so many different things in there that gives them ideas or things that they wouldn't necessarily say, oh, I can use an oil for that. So I just think it's totally like a selling tool to kind of get them on board to say, hey, look big picture, as opposed to being pigeonholed in their idea of what oils do already. And like you said, the whole back is a catalog.
Yeah. And I feel like there's something in these every issue for everyone. There's always two oils that are highlighted. There's something about fitness. There's something about wellness. This one had the cleanse in it. This we also talk about healing hands. There's always recipes. So no matter what people's interests are, there's something always so great in these. So I always feel like these, again, like you said, Ashley, like build more interest and excitement and value in the product. So when people come to the class and it's their first time, they always get a living magazine and one of the 5 ml bottles of Wild Orange. But if I'm also sending information to people, especially when they have very limited knowledge, I tend to send this versus a catalog, because a catalog just shows them all the products, but it doesn't build a lot of more interest in doTERRA.
That's engaging.
Yeah.
Whereas the catalog, you just flip through.
Right.
So
and so and the back acts as a catalog. So
it even has the kits in it.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Although it doesn't have the big kits.
It doesn't. That is one peeve of mine.
I know. It only has up to the Natural Solutions kit, but it does have the kits in them too. So that's two, I would say these two and the wild orange are the materials that I use most for in Class in a Box. And I know we're talking about teaching a class, and so I just want to reiterate that these first two pages really do, no matter what research you use, really do, I think, cover the most important parts of teaching a class. What are essential oils? Why doTERRA? How do I use them? How do I establish a foundation for optimal health? How do I improve my lifestyle, giving people the opportunity to look up their own personal goals? And then you talk about, how do I purchase? Can I share with you how to get, a wholesale membership with doTERRA? You talk about the benefits of being a wholesale member, and then hopefully that's enough to get them to place an order that day. I'm going to quickly just run through a few more of the tools that come in the Class in the Box and just talk about how you can use them otherwise. So first thing is invitations. So, this is kind of old school, but if you're a person that does booths ever, or if you're sending out samples to somebody and they live, geographically close to you, these are great to send as well. So every time I do a booth anywhere, which that's not really my jam. I don't do a ton of them, but I probably do 3 or 4 a year. I will always have some of these ready and filled out. Either I'll print labels or I'll handwrite them, and I give them to people as a way of like, hey, you're showing interest. And I strategically plan a class that comes like within a week of whenever I'm doing that booth. And so I make that a real priority of mine. So that's how I use these. Also at my school, I've been known once or twice, and I probably should do it more, to stick these in a box of every teacher. Hey, I'm having a class, come on down. And so those are some other ideas. Anything else you use these for, Ashley?
Yeah, usually if I have a class coming up, I'll just kind of fill out a stack of them and I keep them in my purse, because I'm always talking to people. And then as I'm talking, I'm like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm having a class. Here's an invitation. Boom, right there. They have something in their hand to take with them, and there's an invite already done. So that's usually how I approach it. Because I don't do booths too often, but I'm at the post office, or I'm somewhere public where I'm talking to people and sharing. So it's just good to have them on hand instead of being like, oh, trying to, let me text you this, whatever. So I usually
That's a great idea. I'm going to start doing that, actually, along with doing samples. So,
right.
The other thing that I want to talk about are these DVDs. So I probably at one point had like 10 of these lying around. You only need one. It's the same thing. But what I started to realize is that people who feel really, really insecure about how to use essential oils, these are a gold mine. If they enroll with any kit that has the top 10 essential oils, or even, these are gifts, and I'm going to give you a free DVD that has every single one of the oils highlighted in here. People are like, what? You're going to give me a free DVD that teaches me about essential oils? And I'm like, yes, I am. So, what about you, Ashley? What do you use these for?
With that, I haven't sampled it yet or busted it open, because I'm always off the tear pads when I teach, but that's a great idea to give them to people who enroll with the top 10. I didn't think about that. It's good.
And you could also, like, if it would be really hard to have a class with someone virtually, like say somebody who doesn't use technology as easily, you could mail this, because the first couple of introductory videos on here are about what essential oils are, why doTERRA. So they cover some of those things. I used to play these along with the tear pad. What happened was the class got a little long.
Yeah.
It did. It really kind of dragged it out a little bit. So but this, for someone who is a little technologically challenged, in terms of like Zooming or FaceTiming or whatever, it would be something that you could send to them.
A good idea.
And, have them watch to go over. So, all right, a couple more things are these guides. And I'm going to put them in order. Living, sharing, and building doTERRA. So Ashley and I were just talking about these. I probably underutilize these a little bit. I'd like to be a little better. This living guide is really great. It talks about the doTERRA vision, how I can use my essential oils, why I choose doTERRA, how do you serve others when you use doTERRA. And then there's a little like survey that asks them about things that they're experiencing in their house. And it says, could you benefit from essential oils? And I'm going to guess there's 10 questions here. I'm going to guess that most people are going to say, yes, I could help have support with avoiding chemicals and synthetics found in household cleaners and laundry and so forth. So again, this is something great to send to someone who's showing interest, that maybe you're putting that in with the living magazine and so forth. And Ashley's point, which was brilliant, is that when somebody enrolls, they get a catalog, a sheet of stickers, and they get all 3 of these guides. So no matter where people are at, you can do a follow-up with 1, 2, or all 3 of these at some point.
Yeah. So basically, like I was telling her, you could do, say, a membership overview, or if they're interested in building or sharing, you can use the share and build guides without spending money on, you know, a system and mailing. You already have the tools here to start them off with their why and their goals and all things like that. So it's just, I like you said, I underutilize these as well because I spend extra money on systems. But you know, if you're just starting out and you are kind of tight, or you just want to be a little more savvy, you can definitely use these because it's very similar to what we use in the other systems like Edge and whatnot with the membership overview and business overview.
So with that being said, this to me is a gold mine. Okay. Yeah. The Sharing doTERRA Naturally guide, because of what Ashley just said. You know, there are a ton of systems out there. And I would say that every system has its pros and cons. We'll talk about a little bit at the end. I would say one of the bigger cons is the updating of the materials and the costs. They're more expensive. And so when I look at this Share doTERRA Naturally guide, it literally, like, why share doTERRA? How to get started, tips for sampling. I mean, this is a whole page on tips for sampling. And then this page alone, I mean, it's not the highest quality, but like still, you can, this is lemon, lavender, peppermint, On Guard, and Breathe. You tear these little sheets off. All you have to do is buy the drams. And then in the back, for more information,
we can't see.
Contact. Oh, you can't see. Hello.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I mean, this is like, you know.
It's done.
Done. So 15 of these, and that comes for free. And I mean, you know, and then we're talking about teaching a class. It talks about it right here, holding a class, how to invite your guest list, reminders, some class information about people that you're inviting as well. Planning a class, there's a class checklist in here, determining a time and location, defining your class topic or theme, creating a guest list, sending invitations. I mean, this right here is basically what we're trying to share with you on this building.
Class outline.
Yep. Class outline.
Yeah.
Why are essential oils? What are essential oils? Why doTERRA? Basically everything that we talked about from this. And then I've taught a class, now what? And then talking about how you can possibly follow up. So this is seriously awesome. And I need to utilize it more often. If you catch the replay of this and you haven't bought a class in box yet, maybe you're not ready to, but you'd like one of these, I'd be happy to mail you one of these. I've got extras. So just let us know by commenting on the chat.
Or even that, they're available online. You can always
just buy those, right?
Yeah, you can just because like I was telling Liza, I had a friend who was supposed to come to my class today. She couldn't make it, and we were supposed to have a one-on-one, and it just wasn't working. So I ended up sending her the link to the living one because it's basically all the information I go over in a class. It just looks a little more presentable and a little easier to digest than to send her a tear pad and have her figure it out.
Right.
So I sent that. I sent a little more information. I sent the magazine and the kit options. And so from there, it's just everything I would have given her, presented to her in a class in digital form. So they're very great with having their resources online. So utilize those as well if you can.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the last one of those is the Building doTERRA Naturally Guide. And again, why build a doTERRA business, setting goals for success, getting connected, a place for you to write down your doTERRA team as you start to build a team. I have to say, those are definitely things that I wish I had done better when I started, just because now I never expected my team to be so big. And now that it is, it can be a little cumbersome to keep track of everything.
Yeah.
So, and then income earning statement, how doTERRA is setting you up to succeed. So the different ways. So if you're familiar with any other types of systems, in a sense, this is kind of a business overview. It's not as in depth.
Yeah.
But it could act as a business overview. So, so that's basically the elements of the class in the box. And I think the value is just off the Richter.
Yeah.
Ashley had a class today and I'm having one tomorrow. And so I wanted to kind of just share a couple of things, that I do and that I should do better. So I know I've talked about the power of the personal invitation. I think we get sucked in a lot to Facebook invites, but just like a blanket invite without any personal invitation. And I think that is really important, even if it's just a text or in the Facebook invite saying, hey, so-and-so, I hope you can come. I've always done this since I started building my business. Like, my kids are napping right now. It's 3:00. So that's why I knew this was a good time to do this call. I will have a class tomorrow at 3:00 because it's just a good time I can still have pretty much a full day with my family, get my kids home, put them to nap, and I can do my doTERRA stuff. You're never going to find a perfect time.
No.
I also, though, do not do at prime time meal times. So I'll typically start a class. Like, I've had events on weekends earlier in the day, like if my kids go with their grandma or something. And so I'll start it at 10. So it's after breakfast, but before lunch. Yeah. I never start a class right at never like at 8 or 9, and then never at like noon, you know, and never at like 5. I always kind of do right before major eating times. I do always serve things, but I keep it very simple. I don't cook. I do a lot of fruit, like oranges, grapes. Everything's always soaked in On Guard and cleaned in On Guard. I do a lot of cheese and crackers and stuff like that. One thing that I do is that On Guard popcorn, which is like,
everyone always loves that.
The bomb. And
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
So yeah, just speaking on that, like today for my class, I cut up some strawberries and blueberries, which I washed in the On Guard hand soap because that's my jam. I use that for all of my fruits. But I put a little bit of honey and then 2 drops wild orange. Everyone was going crazy over those. Super simple. Use some oils. They got them internally, and it got everyone talking.
So tell me what? Blueberries and what?
I just cut up strawberries and blueberries, and then I just put some honey and then some wild orange, and I mixed it up. So they kind of like soak a little bit.
Right.
But everyone loved that. I get a great response when I make the doTERRA Power Bites, which you can find on their blog, or the blog.
Okay.
They're super easy. They're delicious. Everyone loves those. The On Guard popcorn's good. I'm trying to think. On Guard apples are always a hit. Yeah. So like you said, I keep it simple with that. I always have either water, lemonade, or unsweetened tea. Okay. And then I have all the oils out. So like the citrus oils and lavender, so they can make, say, a lavender lemonade, or have either a citrus water or, add some citrus oils to their iced tea. So that gets them interactive and they're getting creative and, having fun with whatever it is they're drinking. So that's usually what I do. Today we did have class at 11:30. So I did make really quick. I went to Trader Joe's, got some dough, and I made a really quick pizza, like a pesto pizza. But that's the first time I've ever really provided like a meal. But then kind of backtrack on the invitation. Usually I make a Facebook invite and like my attendance is so-so. But this time I didn't make a Facebook invite. I made an invitation on Canva. And
Uh-huh.
I personally texted people or Facebook messaged them, or I've reached out, whether we were talking. And my attendance was, like I was telling Liza, like my whole living room was full today. And I know my topic was great, but I also think that me actually going to the person and saying,
Yeah.
hey, I would really enjoy it if you came. I think you would benefit in this way for this class. That really made a big difference.
Yeah.
So
That Canva invite was on fleek too. Loved
thanks.
it. But
Thanks.
no,
If you don't know, do they know what Canva is?
I don't
Do
know.
people?
Talk to
If you
them.
don't know what Canva is, it's canva.com. It's a free resource you can use to make graphics and just really great images. And I use anything you see me post that's an image, I made it on Canva. So check it out.
Yeah, you've done well.
It's
I
easy.
don't have the patience with that because I know
See,
you had a little bit of a learning curve on that.
it is a learning curve, but once you know, like that invite I made in like 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Like I can crank them out like nothing now. So take some
Which is
time.
why we have Ashley crank out all of our images.
Right.
In the filter split. So teaching a class, it can be a one-on-one. A class is a one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
You can have 2 or 3 people, whatever you're comfortable with. I have had the gamut. When I first started, I had 20 people at one class once.
That's a lot.
And it was insane in the membrane. It was hard. Luckily, Roz, my awesome upline leader, was here and she helped me. And I did have 11 enrollments that day, but it was really hard to connect with people.
Yes.
Individually, on that kind of level. And so that was back when people were just like really chomping at the bit. Now, like I've said before, I've really tapped out of my warm market, and I have to work a little harder at it, and I have to get better about the personal invitations. I still do the Facebook invite, and I try to offset it with the personal invites as well. But it's the inviting, it's the guest list. It's also the reminding is very helpful. Like, hey, I'll see you tomorrow at such and such. Don't forget about, my class. I hope you can make it. I think you would really benefit from using essential oils. And so, it's always fun to do like little door prizes and giveaways, but I also just think if everyone leaves with that living magazine and that wild orange, whether they enrolled or not, they left with product and they left with information. And you don't really go into the living magazine at the class. So it's something else to spark their interest and keep them sort of interested. And then if they did enroll, it's just more education for them, really, for them. So that's pretty much it for Class in a Box. Teaching a class, we'll both kind of share our own. So I do really like the Edge System TerraPad. I just find that the information for me goes a little bit deeper, and I don't know, I just like the flow. I like the oils that they have you share. I do tend to read this pretty verbatim, and one of the things for me is that I want it to be duplicable to people. I want them to feel like, okay, I can do what Liza's doing. It's not like she has all of the knowledge in the world. I do make it my own though and share personal testimony and story, but for the most part, I do just read off of the TerraPad. I know Ash likes this TerraPad, but you kind of
Yeah, so with that, I do read, like, say, a bullet or two off the TerraPad, but I do some more ad-libbing because I find that, at least in my classes and in my circle, if I just strictly read from it, you see people's eyes kind of glaze over and it gets a little too dull for them. It doesn't really capture them. So I try to, I'll use them as talking points, but I kind of try to make it more of a conversation, because then they're engaging and they're listening, because it's like, okay, like it's a give and take.
Right.
And that's kind of just how my classes have happened naturally. It's just like every class is different for me.
Yeah.
Some classes people just literally want to sit there and listen. In other classes, I go in with the intention of I'm going over my TerraPad, but they just start throwing questions at me, and that's just kind of, I roll with the flow of the group.
Right.
I kind of let them dictate kind of how we do it, because I want to meet them where they're at.
Right.
I try to ask, like, you like introduce yourself, and if you could let me know, say either what brought you here today or one thing you'd like to get out of the class. And then from there, knowing what it is from their answers, what they're interested in, I'll try to kind of tailor what I'm speaking on, or like try to speak, oh, hey, you're mentioning you needed some help with, energy. We're going over peppermint, and peppermint is great for,
Right.
so I kind of try to bring them in. So I use it, but I don't robot and read just the stuff.
Yeah. So I guess this just kind of really goes back to the first point that we wanted, that we shared, and we want to just keep reiterating that you get to make it your own. I do love care pads though, because it's that, again, they're not going to take in all the information sitting there with you just for that hour and a half. So having them be able to leave with something that they can reference. And even when I do specialized classes, like Ashley did hers on chakras, my last specialized class was essential oils and the brain. I do always use reference tools or tear pads so that people can take notes, and that just kind of help with my flow of the class as well. They kind of help to keep me on pace and on track with topics. So I do feel like tear pads are a good investment. And I don't know about Ashley. I've used ones on Aroma Tools. So like my essential oils in the brain class was from Aroma Tools. I did a class on I Am Fabulous, and the I Am Fabulous book has a tear pad, was from Aroma Tools. I do really like Share Oils tear pads. Most tear pads are like $10 for 50 sheets. So they're really, really affordable. And again, they are information that you could send to people without having like a literal physical class. But I do recommend that any class that you teach, if there's a topic you're interested in, unless it's something that you feel completely confident just going at hard and strong, I do really like a good tear pad. And for the most part, they stand the test of time in terms of just the information being relevant and consistent and so forth. So Aroma Tools and Share Oils are probably my two top go-to places. What about you, Ashley? What do you?
That's usually where I go. Like Oil Life has some there too. Aroma Tools. If not, there's Drew, you can open the door. It's fine. If not, there's Share Success. Their tear pad is online where you can download and print it if you can't afford to purchase it.
Right.
So that's also an option there.
Yeah. I have never really delved into the Share Success materials, but as we've shared already in this group, the sharesuccess.com, the library, I mean, off the chain, everything is there for you for free. Like it doesn't get any better than that. So there's so much. I mean, I can't even believe all of that is just out there for people to use. So so the main things with teaching a class are to teach a class. If you're wanting to share DoTerra and build DoTerra, I feel like people really want, I have to say that I don't think that there are many people that can just totally build their business solely like with an online presence. There are some people now that I think do a really good job of maintaining their business from an online presence. Essential Mermaid, Kelly Martinez. I mean, I follow those guys. I learned so much from them. But it's there's something about an actual class, even if it's in a forum like this, like a Zoom chat or FaceTime. There's something about connecting people face to face, experiencing the oils. So I know that I've had 2 classes online. Before I had Zoom, I used FaceTime, and I just mailed the information and I mailed the samples. And so, well, hello there.
Hi. Who joined? Kate?
Yeah. And I've mailed the samples and had the class with people over technology. Hi.
I'm so sorry I took a nap.
It's okay. We're happy that you rested.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
Hi. We're just kind of wrapping up about classes. We talked about the class in the box, and we're just talking about the Edge Chair Pad, but just reminding people that the main thing is that you teach classes and that you make that personal connection. And there's a lot of excuses you could make. Maybe you don't live close to people, but talking about mailing people the samples and materials and doing, FaceTime, or there's so many ways to connect with people now via the internet. So any of your top tips for teaching a class? I know you're teaching one the following week.
I mean, you just got to schedule one and just make it happen.
Right.
I think that's the part that people are just, I don't know. They're just hesitant to do that.
Right.
But when you set a date and a time and you put it out there, then it's just taking a leap, I think.
Totally.
Yeah, that's huge. It was a lot for me. Like, holding a class was something I was really scared to do, but it finally just came down to like, no more excuses. Just like you said, just set a date and do it. And I was super nervous, but I did it. And it's like, now it's to the point where I'm like, oh, I have a class. Okay. So it's just getting over that fear of doing them. It's just, you can think and think all you want, but you just need to act. And I think that's just something huge, because I know I have a few people on my team who are like, okay, I want to teach a class. How should I do it? I don't know. And I'm like, literally, you just have to do it. And you find your groove, and you find what works for you. You find what materials work with your flow, and you just kind of trial and error, figure it out.
The other thing that I think I used to do that I don't do anymore is I used to lay it all out. I used to feel like when I taught a class, I needed to spend 3 hours before the class prepping for the class and putting out every single doTERRA product I owned and making it all. Now I have my big box. I bring down my box of 25 oils. I have the vitamins out. I keep it really, really simple. If there's anything that people really want to experience that are outside of what I have readily available, if I have it, I'll run and grab it. But I think that made it overwhelming for me and overwhelming for other people.
Yeah.
Now my prep time before a class, as long as my house is pretty relatively clean, is maybe half an hour to 45 minutes laying out the snacks, getting the materials set up. But I've definitely kept it more and more simple as time has gone by, because people are really just there for the knowledge. They're not expecting a whole bunch of snacks.
Yeah.
We talked about keeping, Kate always does an amazing peppermint brownie.
Yes, those are always a hit.
Those are always a hit. But if they're there, they're really wanting to learn about the oils. And so you don't have to worry about everything else and getting it all perfect and all right and all fancy. Because, most of the time we're sitting on our living room floors talking.
I know.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, Ash, unless you have anything to share, we're going to stop the recording. The three of us could stay on for a minute to chat. That might be fun. But anything else you want to share about teaching a class?
With that, like I said, it's just kind of committing to doing it and just taking that leap.
Right.
Because I think, like I was saying, that holds so many people back, but you just have to do it. It's important, and eventually you'll find your groove, you'll find what works. So that's kind of it.
I love that video. I want to say one more thing. I love that video that you posted. I can't remember. It was 6 things to never say at a class.
Yes.
But one of the things that really resonated with me, so I talked about having a class with 20 people.
Drew, please give me a minute.
But I've also had classes where only 1 or 2 people show up, and those are actually really special. And if you plan a class and you put all this time and effort and only 1 person shows up, give that 1 person all of your attention and energy and flip it. I am so glad that it was just you today, because I get to really connect. Because when there's a lot of people, it can sometimes be overwhelming, And so I thought that was a really powerful takeaway. I know that people experience having no people show up at their classes, and I do think that if that happens to you, hello there, Pink Turtle. Pink Turtle. is that you have to think about, it goes back to the personal invitation. I feel like if you plan a class and no one shows up, you have to really dig deep about how many people you personally invited, you personally followed up with, I really think that goes a long way. And so I know, because I've had now a couple of 101 classes that people haven't shown up with for. It's been okay because I backed them up to other classes, like team classes, but I know that I didn't do a good job of reaching out to people. I just created a Facebook invite and that was it, you know? And so I think that that's really important too. So
just to kind of add on to that, I know I've had a few people who've had no shows and they were super down, and I'm like, turn those lemons into lemonade. Go on Facebook Live, make a video or something, because at least you set that intention to teach. So find another way to teach. Right. So I told her, I said, go on Facebook Live or share something or do something productive that doesn't make this day seem like a failure. And
I love that idea.
Yeah, so she ended up turning that around, and I think she like did a Facebook Live or like some really in-depth posts that got a ton of reactions. So she's like, okay, like that it kind of shifts that negative energy, right, and turns it into something positive and, like I said, productive. So that's what I would just recommend doing. If no one shows up, you go to them.
I love that. That's cool. All right. Well, I'm going to stop recording, but let's hang out for a minute. Yeah. But thanks everybody for joining us on the replay. And please feel free to ask us any questions if you have anything that you're still curious about or want clarification on. We're always here to help. So thanks for participating in the Builders Blitz, being on our teams, and we hope to hear from you soon. Bye. Bye. All right. I'm going to stop.